Controversy has erupted with tennis world number one Novak Djokovic having his visa cancelled despite claiming to have a medical exemption. Australians had been left fuming yesterday following allegations of an exemption granted to Djokovic, which would have allowed him to compete in this month's Australian Open. The alleged pardon had come in spite of the Victorian government publicly claiming that the tennis champion would not be allowed to play if he wasn't vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus. The Serbian world number one announced his exemption on Tuesday via social media, much to the chagrin of many Australians, particularly those living in Sydney and Melbourne, who had been forced to experience months of lockdowns and restrictions. Djokovic has long been a fan favourite at Melbourne Park over a Grand Slam career spanning 17 years. However, the Serbian disclosed an anti-vaccination stance during the ATP shutdown in 2020, later clarifying that he was specifically against mandatory vaccinations. His views came under public intense scrutiny, turning the Serb from hero to villain in the tennis world. Public scrutiny has become even more intensified in the lead up to this year's Australian Open, where Djokovic will be attempting to win his 10th Australian Open title and his 21st Grand Slam. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison yesterday shifted the responsibility onto the Victorian state government, saying that Australia must act in accordance with the state government's decision. However, the Prime Minister confirmed Djokovic's visa cancellation via Twitter this morning, saying that no one was above the rules. Did Djokovic get his exemption? The 20-time Grand Slam winner had reportedly been given a medical exemption. However, Mr. Morrison today said that no such exemption had ever been in place. Morrison said that Djokovic had provided information to get on the plane to Australia, but that didn't necessarily mean that he would be allowed entry through the border. In an extraordinary twist, Reuters have reported that 3 other players with exemptions similar to Djokovic have already entered the country without incident. There are some 3,500 people, including players, coaches, and support staff, who have entered into the country to compete at the Australian Open this year. Of that 3,500, 26 people have applied for a vaccination exemption. Serbian President Alexander Vučić vowed that his nation would fight for the tennis star. However, shortly after the president's statement, Djokovic's visa was officially cancelled. Please like and subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. This is Daniel for kalkinemedia.